The massive conference hall buzzed with quiet laughter. Alien representatives from across the galaxy gathered to review the latest exploration permit applications, and today's highlight was Earth's submission. No one took the humans seriously. Not anymore. Jae-hoon Park leaned back in his chair, his scaled fingers tapping a rhythm of amusement on the polished crystal surface. As a senior administrator in the Centauri Diplomatic Corps, he had seen countless species attempt to enter the galactic community. But humans, they were different, and not in a good way. Another application from Earth, he announced to the room, his voice carrying a mix of mockery and disbelief. These humans continue to surprise us, and not in a positive manner. The other delegates chuckled. The insectoid Krell representatives clicked their mandibles together, a sound that translated to pure derision. Crystalline luminars shifted their prismatic bodies, catching the light in a way that suggested pure contempt. The gaseous Brumerians swirled in their containment fields, forming shapes that clearly communicated their disdain. Captain Kim Woo-jin sat alone at the far end of the conference table. He wore a simple Earth Forces uniform, dark blue with minimal decorations. Unlike the elaborate, technology-laden outfits of the other species, his clothing looked almost primitive. His face remained completely neutral, showing no reaction to the ongoing mockery. Their technology is centuries behind, continued Jae-hoon, pulling up a holographic display. Look at their proposed exploration vessels. They're using what we would consider museum pieces, chemical rockets, limited AI assistance, primitive communication systems. A Krell representative extended a sharp appendage toward the hologram. They propose to explore Class 7 planetary systems with equipment that would fail our initial safety inspections. It's laughable. The room erupted in another round of alien laughter. Each species had its own unique sound. The Krell's clicking, the Luminar's crystalline chiming, the Brumerians' wind-like whispers. But the message was universal. Humans were not ready. Captain Woo-jin remained silent. His dark eyes scanned the room, taking in every detail. Years of military training had taught him the value of observation, of understanding one's environment completely before making a move. Jae-hoon Park finished his presentation with a dramatic flourish. The Earth application is, once again, denied. They simply lack the technological sophistication required for serious galactic exploration. More laughter followed. Delegates from various star systems exchanged knowing glances. To them, humans were like children playing with complex machinery they could not possibly understand. What they did not know was that Captain Kim Woo-jin was not just a simple diplomat. He was part of a carefully selected team, representing a species that had more depth than these galactic bureaucrats could ever imagine. As the meeting concluded, Woo-jin stood up. He was shorter than most alien delegates, but something about his posture suggested a quiet strength. A few delegates noticed his movement and stopped their conversations, watching with mild curiosity. "We will continue to apply," he said simply. No anger, no frustration, just a statement of fact. The room fell silent for a moment. Then the laughter resumed, louder than before. Little did they know that this moment would become a turning point in galactic history. Humans had a way of surprising those who underestimated them, and Earth's scouts were about to prove that in a way no one could have predicted. Outside the conference hall, the universe continued its silent spin. Countless stars twinkled, unaware that a small blue planet was about to change everything. The first human exploration team landed on Kepler 452 bits, with nothing more than standard-issue equipment and unbreakable determination. Commander David Rodriguez stood at the edge of their small landing zone, his eyes scanning the alien landscape that stretched before them. The planet was nothing like Earth. Sharp rock formations jutted from ground that looked like broken glass. Winds howled with a pitch that made human ears ring. Temperature readings showed extreme variations, from freezing cold to burning heat within hours. Any other species would have required massive protective infrastructure. The humans? They simply adjusted. Kyung Min Lee watched from the Galactic Observation Station, her fingers dancing across multiple holographic screens. She was a xenobiologist tasked with monitoring this seemingly doomed mission. Every movement of the human team was tracked, analyzed, and recorded. "Look at their equipment," she muttered to her colleague, a luminar named Zoratek. "It's so basic. They're using technology we would consider museum pieces." The human team moved with a precision that caught even the most skeptical observers by surprise. Where robotic exploration units from other advanced civilizations would have struggled, these humans adapted quickly. Commander Rodriguez led his team of 6, 3 men and 3 women, each selected from various military and scientific backgrounds. Their first challenge came quickly. A sudden radiation storm swept across the planet's surface, the kind that would typically require advanced shielding and immediate evacuation. The human team simply found shelter behind rock formations, used their limited protective gear, and continued their mission with minimal interruption. Zoratek leaned closer to the observation screens. "They're not using standard galactic communication protocols," he observed. "How are they coordinating?" Kyung Min smiled. "Hand signals. Basic radio communication. Sometimes just eye contact and predetermined hand movements." The team worked like a well-oiled machine. When one member encountered a challenging terrain feature, others immediately adjusted. They carried minimal supplies. Each team member had less than 50 kilograms of equipment. Compare this to other galactic exploration teams that required multiple transport vessels just to move their gear. Rodriguez marked geological samples, collected atmospheric data, and mapped terrain with a handheld device that looked almost primitive by galactic standards. Yet the data he collected was precise and comprehensive. Hour after hour passed. The human team showed no signs of fatigue. Their movements remained sharp, their communication clear and efficient. They rotated tasks seamlessly, each member understanding their role perfectly. "They're treating this like a military operation," Kyung Min explained to her increasingly fascinated colleague. "Every member is both a specialist and a generalist. They can step into any role if needed." As the planet's twin suns began to set, casting long shadows across the rocky landscape, the human team prepared their minimal camp. They used local resources, created simple protective barriers, and maintained constant vigilance. Zoratek could no longer hide his growing respect. "They're doing in hours what would take our best teams days to accomplish." Kyung Min nodded. "And they're just getting started." Back on Earth, no celebration occurred, no massive media coverage, just a simple report being compiled, another mission logged in humanity's growing record of interstellar exploration. What the galactic community didn't realize was that this mission was more than just an exploration. It was a statement, a quiet, powerful declaration that humans were not to be underestimated. The universe was about to learn a lesson it would never forget. The room was quiet, too quiet. Lieutenant Michael O'Brien sat completely still, his eyes fixed on the 3 senior officers reviewing his file. Most people would have felt nervous. Not him. "Your record is unusual," said Admiral Helen Carter, her fingers sliding across a digital tablet. Each movement brought up another page of O'Brien's extensive service history, deployments that read like impossible mission logs, training records that defied standard military understanding. O'Brien had spent 12 years as a Navy SEAL. He had operated in environments most soldiers would consider impossible: Arctic zones, desert landscapes, jungle territories, mountainous regions. Each deployment had pushed human limits of survival and adaptation. The new program was different. This wasn't just another military mission. This was humanity's first serious attempt at serious interstellar exploration reconnaissance. They needed someone who could think beyond standard military protocols, someone who could adapt faster than technology could change. "You speak 5 languages," commented Colonel Park, reviewing O'Brien's linguistic capabilities, "and you've completed advanced survival training in multiple extreme environments." O'Brien remained silent. He knew talking would not improve his chances. His record spoke for itself. The psychological profile was what truly set him apart. Where most soldiers showed signs of stress after extended missions, O'Brien demonstrated remarkable mental stability. His brain seemed to process stress differently. Challenges that would break normal human minds were simply puzzles to be solved for him. Admiral Carter looked up. "We're not just looking for a soldier. We need someone who can represent humanity in situations we cannot even imagine." The recruitment process was unlike anything in military history. It wasn't just about physical capabilities. They needed someone who could make split-second decisions in environments completely unknown to human experience. Someone who could communicate, survive, and potentially negotiate with alien species. O'Brien's previous missions told a story of incredible adaptability. In Afghanistan, he had successfully led a team through terrain that seemed impossible. In Arctic training exercises, he had survived conditions that had hospitalized other elite soldiers. His ability to read environments, understand local dynamics, and make rapid decisions was legendary within Special Forces circles. "Your mission success rate is 94%, Colonel Park noted. That's significantly higher than any other Special Forces operator in recent history." The room remained silent. O'Brien knew they were not just reviewing his past. They were measuring his potential for humanity's future. The Interstellar Reconnaissance Program was humanity's most ambitious project. They needed someone who could represent Earth in situations that no training could fully prepare them for. Someone who could turn the unexpected into an opportunity. "We're not sending you to fight a war," Admiral Carter explained. "We're sending you to explore, to learn, to represent humanity's potential." O'Brien's response was simple and direct. "I'm ready." No dramatic speech, no passionate declaration, just a statement of fact. The officers exchanged looks. They had found their candidate. What they didn't know was that Lieutenant Michael O'Brien was about to become more than just a soldier. He was about to become humanity's first true interstellar ambassador, a role that would change everything humans understood about their place in the universe. The universe was waiting, and O'Brien was prepared to meet its challenge. Toxic atmosphere swirled in poisonous green clouds. Sharp rock formations jutted like broken glass from ground that seemed to breathe with heat. Temperature readings fluctuated wildly, from freezing cold to burning hot within minutes. This was a Class 9 hostile environment, the kind of planet that made even advanced alien species think twice about exploration. Lieutenant Michael O'Brien's team of 6 moved with practiced precision. Each team member carried minimal equipment, their movements synchronized like a single organism. They were not just soldiers, they were humanity's first true interstellar exploration unit. The planet's predatory species struck without warning. Massive creatures that looked like a cross between Earth's scorpions and prehistoric sharks erupted from underground tunnels. Each creature was the size of a large truck, with multiple razor-sharp limbs and a communication system that allowed instant, coordinated attacks. Most exploration teams would have immediately called for extraction. Not O'Brien's team. "Perimeter formation," O'Brien said quietly. No panic, no fear, just a simple command. The team transformed instantly. Sarah Mitchell, the team's heavy weapons specialist, moved to a high ground position. Alex Rodriguez, their communication expert, began mapping the creature's attack patterns. Maria Kim, their medical officer, prepared emergency treatment protocols. The first wave of creatures attacked with incredible speed. Their multiple limbs moved like liquid metal, striking with precision that would have destroyed any standard military unit. But O'Brien's team was anything but standard. Mitchell's weapon fired, not in panic, but in calculated bursts. Each shot took down a creature with surgical precision. Rodriguez's communication gear began broadcasting a specific frequency that seemed to confuse the creature's coordination. O'Brien moved like water. Where other soldiers would have stood and fought, he used the environment. He understood that survival wasn't about fighting everything. It was about using what was available. Hyunwoo Kim, watching from the distant observation station, could not believe what he was seeing. These humans were doing what no other species had managed on this planet. They were not just surviving, they were adapting. The battle lasted less than 20 minutes. When it was over, the team had not just survived. They had collected scientific samples, mapped underground tunnel systems, and gathered critical planetary data. Mission objectives completed, O'Brien reported simply, as if they had just finished a routine training exercise. Back at the observation station, Hyunmoo Kim turned to his alien colleagues. Their faces showed something they had never expected: respect. Humans are different, he said quietly. They don't just explore, they solve problems. The universe had just received a message written in human determination, adaptability, and an impossible will to survive. And this was just the beginning. The Omega Quadrant was known as the galaxy's most dangerous exploration zone. Countless teams had disappeared here. Navigation was nearly impossible. Predatory alien species controlled most of the region's spatial corridors. Lieutenant Michael O'Brien's team received the mission with their usual calm. Where other teams would have shown fear, they simply prepared. The trap sprung quickly and without warning. 3 different exploration teams, 1 human, 2 alien, found themselves caught in a sophisticated ambush. The alien teams represented some of the most advanced species in the galaxy: the crystalline luminars and the computational Nexus Collective. Their attackers were the Shadow Hunters, a species that specialized in technological warfare. They could hack communication systems, disable advanced shields, and trap entire exploration teams within seconds. O'Brien's first action was unexpected. Instead of attempting to fight, he went completely still. His team followed his lead instantly. "Communication blackout," he whispered. "Full radio silence." The alien teams looked confused. Their technology relied on constant communication: shields, sensors, constant data exchange. When the Shadow Hunters attacked, these teams' first response was to use their advanced systems. Big mistake. Each technological signal became a target. The Shadow Hunters tracked and disabled the alien team's equipment with surgical precision. Within minutes, the Luminar and Nexus teams were completely neutralized. Their advanced technology turned against them. O'Brien's team. They used old-school survival techniques: hand signals, visual communication, basic equipment that couldn't be hacked. Sarah Mitchell, their weapons specialist, began creating simple diversionary tactics: small devices that produced random electronic signals, decoys that confused the Shadow Hunters' tracking systems. Alex Rodriguez started mapping their environment using nothing more than a basic compass and visual landmarks. No digital tracking, no advanced systems, just human observation and memory. The Shadow Hunters became confused. Their entire attack strategy depended on technological superiority. But these humans were playing a completely different game. Within 2 hours, O'Brien's team had not only escaped but created an escape route for the other 2 trapped teams. They used the terrain. They understood the environment. They adapted faster than technology could track. The Luminar team leader, a crystal-based being named Zoratek, watched in complete amazement. Humans were doing what no advanced technological species could achieve. How? Zoratek asked O'Brien after their rescue. "Your technology is so basic." O'Brien's response was simple: "Technology is a tool. Understanding is the real weapon." Back at the Galactic Command Center, the mission logs told a story that would change everything. A small human team had rescued 2 supposedly superior exploration teams from certain destruction. The universe was learning a lesson. Humans were not just another species. They were something entirely different. And this was only the beginning. News traveled fast in the galactic communication networks. Faster than light. Faster than thought. The story of Lieutenant Michael O'Brien's team spread like wildfire. What had once been a joke about human capabilities now became a serious topic of discussion in every major galactic forum. Conference halls that had previously echoed with laughter now filled with serious conversations. Jae-hoon Park, The same administrator who had once mocked human exploration attempts now found himself in a completely different position. His desk was covered with diplomatic proposals. Species from across the galaxy wanted to understand humans better. The Luminar Diplomatic Corps was the first to make a formal request. They wanted joint training exercises. They wanted to understand how a species with seemingly basic technology could achieve what their most advanced teams could not. The Nexus Collective, a computational species known for their advanced AI and technological superiority, requested detailed psychological profiles of human team members. They were particularly interested in how humans made decisions under extreme stress. Alien research centers began studying human mission logs. They discovered something remarkable. Where other species relied on complex technological solutions, humans used something different: adaptability, creative thinking, an ability to turn limitations into strengths. Military strategists from various star systems began rewriting their exploration protocols. The human approach was something entirely new. It wasn't about having the most advanced technology. It was about understanding the environment, about thinking beyond standard operating procedures. O'Brien's team became more than just explorers. They became ambassadors, not through grand speeches or diplomatic negotiations, but through their actions. Each mission demonstrated a uniquely human approach to problem solving. The Krell, once the most vocal critics of human capabilities, now requested information exchange programs. Their military leaders wanted to understand how humans trained their personnel to be so adaptable. Scientific conferences began featuring human exploration techniques. Research papers were published. Entire academic disciplines emerged to study the human approach to exploration and survival. Diplomatic channels that had been closed to humans now opened wide. The galactic community was no longer seeing humans as a joke. They were seeing them as a potential key to understanding exploration itself. Jae-hoon Park sat in his office, reviewing the latest diplomatic reports. The same conference hall where he had once mocked human exploration attempts now hosted serious discussions about human potential. They're not just another species, he said to himself. There's something different. The universe was changing, and humans were at the center of that change. No one could have predicted how quickly everything would shift. A species that was once considered primitive was now becoming the most interesting topic in galactic discussions. Exploration would never be the same again. The integration of human capabilities into galactic exploration strategies became a carefully orchestrated process. The Galactic Confederation realized that humans brought something unique to interstellar missions, an unpredictability and adaptability that traditional species lacked. Lieutenant Michael O'Brien and his team were no longer just explorers. They had become living case studies of human potential. Research centers across multiple star systems began studying their mission approaches, training methods, and decision-making processes. The Luminar Technology Institute conducted extensive research on human problem-solving techniques. They discovered that humans solved challenges differently from any known species. Where computational species used advanced algorithms, humans used a combination of intuition, creativity, and rapid adaptation. Key findings emerged from multiple research studies. 1. Human teams demonstrated a remarkable ability to improvise with limited resources. A standard human exploration unit could accomplish missions that would require 3 times the equipment for other species. 2. Psychological resilience was a unique human trait. Under stress, human teams became more focused rather than less effective. Most alien species showed decreased performance during high-pressure situations. 3. Communication methods used by humans were surprisingly efficient. They relied less on technological communication and more on direct, personal interaction. Hand signals, visual cues, and minimal verbal communication allowed them to operate in environments that would disable most advanced communication systems. The Nexus Collective, a species known for its computational superiority, became particularly interested in human training methods. They began developing new training protocols based on human approaches to problem-solving and team dynamics. Military strategists from various star systems rewrote their exploration guidelines. The human approach was not about having the most advanced technology. It was about understanding the environment, thinking beyond standard protocols, and turning limitations into strengths. O'Brien's team became more than explorers. They were now strategic advisors. Their mission logs were studied in military academies across multiple star systems. Young explorers from different species began learning about human approaches to survival and exploration. The galactic communication networks buzzed with discussions about human potential. What was once a source of mockery had become a subject of serious study and respect. Diplomatic channels expanded. Species that had previously ignored humans now sought collaboration. Joint exploration missions became a new standard. Human teams were integrated into multicultural exploration units, bringing their unique approach to problem-solving. The technological gap that had once seemed so significant began to blur. Humans were not trying to match alien technologies. Instead, they were showing that technological superiority was not about complexity, but about understanding and adaptation. Research centers developed new categories of exploration strategies. Human-style adaptability became a recognized term in scientific and military circles. Training programs began incorporating human techniques of survival, communication, and mission completion. O'Brien and his team represented more than just a successful exploration unit. They were living proof that humanity's strength was not in advanced technology, but in its ability to adapt, survive, and thrive in the most challenging environments. The universe was changing, and humans were at the forefront of that change. The final debriefing occurred in a massive conference hall that once rang with laughter at humanity's expense. Now, the same room held the most powerful representatives from across the galaxy. Commander Rodriguez stood at the center, his presentation simple and direct. No fancy graphics, no complex technological displays, just clear, straightforward information about human exploration achievements. The transformation was complete. Humanity was no longer an afterthought in galactic exploration. They had become a critical component of interstellar understanding. The Luminar delegation, once the most vocal critics, now sat with genuine respect. Their lead diplomat, Zaratek, had personally requested human integration into their exploration programs. The crystalline being's translucent form seemed to shimmer with a new understanding of human potential. Key achievements were highlighted. 1. Survival rates. Human exploration teams demonstrated a 300% improvement in mission completion compared to traditional galactic exploration units. 2. Resource efficiency. Human missions required 70% less technological support and equipment than standard galactic exploration protocols. 3. Adaptive capabilities. Human teams solved unexpected challenges in ways that defied traditional computational strategies. Lieutenant Michael O'Brien sat quietly, watching the proceedings. He was not interested in celebration. For him, this was simply another mission completed. The Nexus Collective had completely redesigned their exploration training based on human methodologies. Their computational models now incorporated what they called human unpredictability factors, the ability to make decisions that went beyond standard algorithmic predictions. Jae-hoon Park, the same administrator who had once mocked human exploration attempts, now led the Human-Alien Integration Committee. His career had transformed alongside humanity's galactic reputation. The galactic communication networks told a story of complete transformation. Humanity was no longer viewed as a primitive species. They were now seen as the most adaptable explorers in known space. Scientific conferences discussed human capabilities with genuine excitement. Military strategists studied human mission logs as critical learning documents. Diplomatic channels that were once closed now sought continuous collaboration. "We didn't just prove ourselves," Commander Rodriguez said during his final statement. "We rewrote the rules of exploration." The implications were massive. Humanity had shown that technological superiority was not about complex equipment. It was about understanding, adaptation, and the ability to turn challenges into opportunities. Species from across the galaxy began sending their best and brightest to learn from human exploration teams. Training programs were developed. Joint missions were planned. A new era of interstellar cooperation had begun. O'Brien watched the proceedings with his usual calm. To him, this was not about victory. This was about understanding, about pushing the boundaries of what was possible. The universe had changed, and humans were at the center of that change. As the conference concluded, the message was clear. Humanity was not just another species. They were something entirely different, something extraordinary. And this was only the beginning.